and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me is the person that makes this all profitable,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Fantastic Factories. Sarah, tell us about this game.
All right. In Fantastic Factories, players compete to build the most efficient set of factories in the shortest time through dice placement, engine, and tableau building. All right, Will, so why did we get Fantastic Factories?
Well, when this first hit Kickstarter, we weren't sure about it. Skipped that first one, and then we waited till more reviews came out, and then when the second Kickstarter hit with expansions, that's when we jumped on board with it, because we actually did see the reviews, and based on all the mechanics and things that presented, the dice rolling, engine building, tableau building, it ticked all the boxes that we look for when it comes to this type of game.
Yep, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We're pretty sure from those reviews that the mechanisms would be something we'd enjoy. So, why do we like the game? I think pretty much a lot of those mechanisms, just as Will said, they work really well together. It's very synergized and, woven together very well. And yeah.
It's a box tickable experience.
Yes, and the other thing is that we really like is that during the work phase, you have the freedom to do actions in any order. So this allows for a lot of comboing and some chaining of actions, and you can go back and forth to do things. And so that freedom to play the game your way is really enjoyable.
Yeah, and it has a multiplayer solitaire, so just like it's I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. Let's figure out all our comboing, have our experience personally, and not be messing with each other.
Yeah, and we definitely prefer that, is that if we're going to build something up, especially with the engine building aspects and management of resources and things like that, we don't typically like to play that tear each other down type of game. So being able to do what we do and then compare at the end, that's kind of our game.
Yeah, another thing I like about this game is that it's very approachable. So other games that have a more expressive theme might not mesh well with a lot of people. For example, Sarah's not big into zombies. So if this was a zombie factory game, she would go, pass. I don't need to figure out how to get more brains. I'll find a brain game for that. So Fantastic Factories is a very, I would say, inoffensive theme that I could probably bring out to anyone, and I think the only ones that would have a problem with are maybe people against capitalism, but even in non-capitalistic societies, you still have to produce stuff. So.
Right, and like you said, it's inoffensive. In other words, I don't see anybody getting offended by this like they might a more niche, theme, like you said, zombies. I just don't really like zombies. Yeah. So you're not going to probably see any zombie games from us. Reviewed by us.
There's no colonization. Right. There's no slavery. There's no fantasy. There's no space exploration that just might rub somebody the wrong way. This is just factories, and it's very nebulous as to even what you're producing. You could just tell people what you're producing, and that's what it is.
Yep.
So yeah, it's easy to bring out.
Right. And another aspect that we really like is that some games that have simultaneous play, we still have to play turn-based, because I've got to help Will manage everything that he does, and then I have to do my stuff, and I can't do both at the same time. But if you check out our video on the two-player and accessibility aspect of this is really, really accessible. Will, for the most part, can do almost everything he needs to do on his turn. He just has me check the cards to make sure he grabbed the right card and is paying the right resource, just to make sure. But most of the time it's, you've got it down, dude. Just keep doing your thing.
Yeah, and leave me alone.
It's like, I'm doing my thing over here.
Yeah.
For once, I can do my thing. You do your thing.
Yeah.
So we really appreciated all the, accessible features like the dual layer boards, and all the iconography on the cards is very clear. So, it makes it very, very good.
So that's what we like.
Yes.
What do we dislike?
Well, it is kind of a tight economy that definitely feels like you struggle against it. It's very slow to get resources. There are only really 2 resources in the base game.
3.
Three?
There is metal, there is electricity, and there's cards.
That's true. That is very true. And
Dice, if you want to really be...
that's true. You can gain
about it.
additional dice, which does make that part very powerful when you can gain additional dice. But specifically on the cards, it never feels like you can get enough cards, because to play a card down into your tableau, you have to have another card. Not only just another card, but another card that has the same symbol as the one you want to play. So there's this extra level of requirement that makes it very difficult. And there's not a lot of ways, not a lot of easy ways to get more cards. And so I really get frustrated by that aspect of, I want to do all these really cool things, and I really can't do like a quarter of the really cool things. So that's one of the things I really struggle with.
Yeah, cards especially is a very tight resource, because not only are you using the card to build, but you need a card to build. And if you want to use any of the contractors, you have to do a matching card of the icon that the token is next to for that contractor to use that card. And you'll do that instead of gaining a card. So unlike other resources, there's just so many more demands for cards.
Right, and some activation costs include cards.
Yes.
So, so that part is a really frustrating aspect, and specifically on those contractors, the fact that at the beginning of the round, you're either gaining a blueprint from the row, or you're spending a card to gain a one-time benefit from the contractors. Now, granted, the contractors are very strong abilities, but you're not only giving up a card gain, but you're giving up a card from your hand that you could have used to build or activate or do something else with. So I have to admit, I don't use contractors. It feels like such a
Costly,
and not just costly, it feels kind of separated. Like when I first saw this game and the way the 2 rows were, I thought it was going to be like other games where you take a column, where you get a blueprint and you get the contractor above it. Because I've seen a lot of other games that do that, where it's either a card and a token, or 2 cards, or whatever it is that you have to balance what it is you actually need. But that's not how this plays.
No, it's definitely one that... Now, it's balanced.
It is.
We weren't sure at first, but I specifically played a game where I focused and tried to get as many contractors as I possibly could. And I did, and I won.
Yep.
Pretty easily, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely outstripped what I could do in that game.
Yeah, so the payments all are mechanically balanced. It's just experientially, they feel very, as Sarah put it, separate from the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's maybe just our personal preference or taste.
I think we've discussed this in other aspects, that yes, when it comes to engine building, and I gotta admit, designing a good engine builder is very challenging, because you can't let it get too far away from you.
Yeah.
Or it will explode, and then you can't manage anything because you've got 100 cards in front of you. So I understand there needs to be constraints. I think I just prefer it a little bit more open. So something giving, either that the contractors don't cost a card. It's either you gain a blueprint or you gain a contractor. I would be okay with that cost, because there's an opportunity cost there of just making that choice.
Yeah, but the designer has done their due diligence, looked at the benefit of the contractors, and realized that I would imagine that actually happened in an early playtest.
Yeah.
And that really became, okay, these things just cost too much, and they had to ratchet it down, and this was the result.
But I will say, as much as I'm complaining about all the card economy, I have won the game, and I have won the game without using contractors. So again, that's maybe more of a nitpick of this contractor concept. I really want to use it, but I have a mental block or just some sort of hang up.
You don't feel incentivized.
I don't feel incentivized to use contractors. So I don't always win, obviously, but you can play the game and not use the contractors if you feel the same way I do, and you can still really enjoy yourself. So,
okay. Well, is there anything else we dislike?
Nope. I think that was everything.
So it's rating time?
Let's go on to ratings.
So, when it comes to ratings, we each get 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give our number, a reason why, and then we add the two together to see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Fantastic Factories roll for you?
It rolled a 4. I really do like this game. It has a lot of mechanisms that I really enjoy. Engine building, resource management, building out your tableau, all the dice placement and figuring out how to manipulate the dice. I really enjoy all that. It's just hampered by the tight economy, specifically the card economy. And so if I feel like that kind of game and I don't feel like that kind of struggle, I may not choose to play this game. But I have a feeling this is a game that if Will came to me and said, hey, I want to play Fantastic Factories, I would say yes. I enjoy this game. It just might be there's going to be times I'm going to suggest something else that gives me the same kind of feeling that might just be a little bit more open, but I still really enjoy it.
Now, this might surprise you, but I'm giving it a 3.
Oh.
This game for me is meat and potatoes. It is the solid thing that I can come to reliably, get a fantastic experience from it, but because the theme is so approachable and so, well, not out there, it's probably not going to be the thing I reach for because I probably will forget about it. It's not a bad game in any stretch of the imagination. It is actually what I would consider one of the fundamentals of its genre. This is the type of game you look at to see of this is a good starting point. How can I build or twist upon that? Because it does so many things right, and it's dialed in to be a very, very good game. I just am not blown away completely by it. Part of it is the weird feeling of, well, there's like half the game I don't really want to interact with because I feel it's expensive, even though it's not. It's balanced. So it gives me contradictory feelings, but at the same time, I can't point at any one thing and say it's bad or it's unbalanced or anything like that. It's just a solid middle for me. So that is why I give it a 3.
No, that makes sense. I am surprised by it. I thought you liked it more.
Yeah. I mean, it like I said, it's not a bad game. If anybody asks to play it, I'll play it. And if I remember it, I'll maybe suggest it. But I can't say it blew me away in such a way. And this is a 3 that's average, whereas a lot of averages for most people's ratings have to still go above like the 4s and 5s, and they'll say, oh, that's still average. No, this is a 3. It's average. It's not bad, good. It's right down the middle. I like it for many different reasons, but it's not going to be a favorite of mine.
Gotcha. All right.
So together, it rolled a 7 out of 12.
Which is still good. It is a solid entry. I could see this definitely being a game I teach people who are newer to the hobby, because this does teach a lot of different mechanisms and it does it very well.
Yes, extremely well. So yeah, gateway game.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. It is a gateway game. Meat and potatoes.
Yes, I gotcha.
Yes. So that will do it for us here at Rolling with Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And that's been it for us. And we've been Rolling with Reviews.